You ever hear a word so many times it just becomes a joke until the day it walks right up your driveway and smacks you in the face? Audacity. That's the one. I thought I knew what it meant, but I hadn't really seen it in action until Linda Hawthorne, self-declared Queen of Crestwood Estates and President for Life of the HOA, decided to make my life her little hobby, even after I finally escaped that beige, rule-obsessed suburb for good. What happened next? Well, let's just say it's a story folks still argue about. Was it justice revenge? Or just a circus that needed to happen? 5 years I did my time in Crestwood. 5 years of petty citations, phony smiles, and newsletters that read like royal decrees. My name's Sarah Mitchell. I'm 42, work logistics, and I can tell you exactly how many steps it takes to walk from my front door to the edge of my property, because in Crestwood, you'd better know where your yard ends, or you'll get a notice about your grass being 1 inch too high. Linda. She made it her life's work. Sharp nose, fake designer shades, Range Rover with chrome so bright you could spot her coming before you heard her tires on the asphalt. She'd cruise around looking for garden gnomes, basketball hoops left out overnight. God forbid your front door was painted the wrong shade of teal. Which, yeah, was the last straw for me. So I finally broke out, bought myself a 3-acre patch of heaven, just a couple miles outside Crestwood's reach. A bungalow tucked under old oaks, a brook running past wild grass instead of manicured lawns, and a big blue sky overhead. I remember the moving day boxes everywhere, movers sweating me, laying out a teal welcome mat as a middle finger to Crestwood's approved palette. I was sure I was finally free until I saw that familiar flash of silver crawling along the county road. Linda, of course, sunglasses on head on a swivel, taking inventory of my grass, my boxes, my very existence. She didn't stop, just gave me a glare that promised I hadn't seen the last of her. You know what I mean? Some people just don't know how to let go. 2 days later, I'm out planting roses, finally relaxed when up pulls Linda window, humming down. Enjoying the rustic charm, Sarah. Quite a change from Crestwood standards. The fake sweetness could have given you a cavity. I just told her that's the whole point, Linda, and let her chew on that. She sat there, engine idling, sizing me up like I was a stray dog she might have to call animal control on, and finally took off. I'd have laughed, but I knew her type. She doesn't let go until she gets the last word. That night, I walked the edge of my land, survey in hand, snapping photos of every marker, every stake, just in case. Logistics coordinator's paranoia, maybe, but you learn to document everything. Called my son Ethan. He's a deputy, and he always cheered me on in my battle with Crestwood. "How's the free world treating you, Mom?" he teased. I told him Linda was circling like a buzzard. He just sighed. "She's famous at the station for calling in fake emergencies. She can't touch you out there. Just keep your doors locked." But the next morning there it was, a friendly reminder stuck under my mailbox on Crestwood letterhead. While not legally required, considerate neighbors maintain harmony. Overgrown grass and garish decor hurt property values. Thank you for cooperating. I nearly choked laughing. It was classic Linda dressed up as community concern. I put the note in a Ziploc evidence style. Then came the drive-bys, her Range Rover parked just outside my property line, her watching for hours pretending to check her phone. It was like living next to a wildlife camera, except the animal was a very determined, very bored suburban dictator. She even tried to rope my neighbors in. Old Mr. Thompson, whose property backed up to mine, came by one afternoon looking a little sheepish. That lady in the shiny SUV stopped me, asked all kinds of questions about your yard, told her the only eyesore was her blocking my gate. "Your place looks great." I could have hugged him. But Linda stepped it up, official letter this time. "Your meadow harbors ticks. Your mailbox isn't regulation green. Bird feeders attract nuisance birds. Please address or face further action." I called Ethan again. "She's accusing me of a tick infestation." He whistled. "That's harassment. Keep logging everything. If she sets foot on your land, call it in." And just like that, we'd gone from HOA nagging to legal territory. Next thing you know, county code enforcement shows up, a polite young woman, Ms. Carter, apologizing as she checks my bins and my wildflower patch. "Looks fine, ma'am. I'm sorry, some folks have strong opinions about grass." 2 days after that, animal control shows up about feral dogs. All they found was my old spaniel, Oliver, asleep on the porch. Officer Hank just rolled his eyes. "Silver SUV lady. She calls about squirrels, too. I started a log jotting down every agency visit, every complaint number, but proof that was tricky. Linda knew to use burner phones and other people's names. Everything came to a head on a windy Tuesday. I'd hired an arborist, Tom, to trim a big oak, his truck blocking part of my driveway. I'm pouring lemonade when suddenly I hear shouting. There's Linda Range Rover angled across the road, chewing Tom out about safety hazards and noise violations. I step outside and ask, "Something I can help you with?" "Linda." She snaps that Tom's truck is blocking the road. I point out, "That's my driveway." "Your car's in the way." Tom just grins. "We're on private property, lady." She puffs up and then, of course, calls 911. There's a disturbance, vehicles blocking traffic, unpermitted work. I could feel my blood pressure spike. She was straight up lying on record. So I tell her, "You know my son's a sheriff's deputy, right?" She just scoffs. "Irrelevant. The law is the law." Like that ever stopped her. 15 minutes later, here come two deputies, Reed and Lopez, both looking confused as hell by this scene. Tree guys, lemonade, Linda's Range Rover blocking the road. Linda runs up, waving her arms, talking a mile a minute. Reed just looks at her car and says, "Ma'am, you need to move your vehicle." Linda gasps. But I'm the one who called. They ask me if I'm the property owner. I say yes, and Tom's crew are working for me. Lopez checks the truck. It's legal. All permits in order. And then right on cue up rolls Ethan in uniform. Linda lights up thinking she's finally found her ally. "Deputy Mitchell, can you explain community standards?" Ethan doesn't even crack a smile. "What's the situation here?" Reed briefs him on the call. "False report of a roadblock and it's her car blocking the way." Ethan looks right at Linda. "You reported vehicles blocking the road. Ms. Hawthorne." Linda suddenly gets cagey. "Potentially, yes." Lopez says, "Your vehicle was the obstruction." Ethan's voice goes cold. "Filing a false report is a crime, Ms. Hawthorne." Linda tries to bluster. "I'm a pillar of this community," but Reed just steps in, cuffs her, and as her knockoff purse hits the gravel, you could see her whole empire start to crumble. Tom whistles. Guess that's one way to deal with the neighborhood watch. Linda gets driven off, still promising lawsuits, but now it's just noise. Ethan hangs back. "Mom, your logs might be enough for harassment charges if the DA wants to play hardball." She crossed a line. Later, Mr. Thompson stops by, laughing. Looks like her kingdom was smaller than she thought. After that, things changed quick. With Linda out, the HOA elected a new president. Emily Chill, liked kids, loosened up the rules. Someone put out a pink flamingo just to prove a point. My tomatoes and wildflowers flourished. No more Range Rover creeping by. I even felt a little sorry for Linda, well, almost. She did her court-mandated community service picking up trash on the highway and finally resigned for personal reasons. Sometimes Ethan comes by and we share pie from my own garden. We talk about how maybe Linda wasn't really evil, just someone who got drunk on power because nobody ever told her enough. Or maybe she really was just a bully who met her match, I don't know. But every evening I sit on my porch and watch the sun set across my land, knowing I finally won my freedom. And you know what? Bullies only win if you let them. So tell me, was I right to stand my ground or did I go too far? When does a fight for your rights become a grudge match? I want to hear your take. Drop a comment and let's settle it.